Who are you?
That's a great question, philosophical question. Let me think about it for 10 minutes before I answer. I'm kidding.
Like I still don't. I think it really has to do with like the community of people you're around, but it's like I don't know. It's just like if I actually, I mean, I'm not going to be drinking for the next 6 months, 100%. I committed to it, and I'm still thinking like, I don't even know how that's gonna. Like, I think that's my fear of embracing Islam is that I'm like, which is change is not necessarily. It's definitely not inherently bad or good, but it's scary. Like, I see my life, and I want it to change. So I do want change, but I'm like, who am I going to be friends with? Like, some of my friends I've only seen when we're drinking. Like sometimes I'll think like, wait, have I seen that guy? Like, have I hung out with him in the past 3 years when we weren't drinking? Like, we've hung out a lot. I'm like, no. Like, it's always this like cycle, and I want to escape it, but I'm also like, wow, like my life is gonna be so different.
Is it that you feel like maybe they're gonna like have certain thoughts about you, like you betrayed them, or that they think you're crazy? Is it about what they think about you?
Them to me, just me being like, is this really gonna be fun? Like, I think I need to basically have a complete new friends almost.
Yeah.
Like, how is this gonna like go together? Unless I either concede on something or I have new friends. Like, it feels like it's one or the other.
It's a no-brainer, dude. That's a no-brainer. I mean, like, logically, Grayson, pick fun, woo, drinking at a bar, music, yay, fun, or the truth, God.
Yeah.
That's an easy one, bro.
It's definitely easy when like I'm around one of my friends, a Muslim friend of mine, who's like super pious, and like it's like what you said. Like when I'm with him, I'm not thinking like, man, it'd be nice to be like smoking a joint right now with my friend. Like when I'm with him, it's like so pure. Like it's so easy to like. It's I just realized, everyone you're with is pulling you towards them, whatever they are. Like you just want to. You want to like synergy, and so like if his synergy's here, like energy, like mine's gonna naturally like try and get closer. So many people tell me like you're making me learn about my religion. Like I wasn't taking it seriously. Like I saw some of your videos, and then I wanted to learn about my own religion that I hadn't even investigated. So I know in the end it's good. I'm just like worried to not be a good example because I'm kind of thinking like, dang, if I didn't go down this journey, I could have just been a free YouTuber. I could have had no guilt. Like I'm not representing your religion. Like I can say anything. I can do anything. I can curse and not feel guilty. Like now, if I like say a curse word, I'm like, I'm like imagining like a younger kid, a religious kid, and like, oh, like why do you say that? And I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. But then I'm like, I also want to be myself. Like, like this.
I get you.
You get what I'm saying?
There's a lot of pressure. You feel pressure, don't you?
I mean, yeah, pressure on myself. I mean, there's really nobody making me do anything. But I just want to be a good example. I want to follow God, and I want to encourage others to do that. And I also think like the best way to get people to follow God is like being authentic. So am I going to hide my future self, or am I going to go all in? It's not even the future yet. It's literally only right now. But does that make sense?
You're doing the thing about the next. You're thinking about the next step. Yeah. I understand. I understand what you're saying, and let me ask you this: if you die today, so this is your last morning, you're gonna die. Let's say in the middle of the day, at some point today. Hypothetically, you're gonna die.
Scary. I'm actually gonna put my head in that mindset.
Yeah, do. Say hypothetically, you're gonna die today. Would you rather die being a bad Muslim? So you're a Muslim, but you're let's say not very good at it. You make some mistakes here and there, but you're still a Muslim. Or would you rather die knowing that Islam is the truth, but you didn't accept it? You're not a Muslim. You didn't submit. You know you should submit, but you didn't. Now you're dead. You have to face God. Which version of you would you rather be?
I mean, yeah, the version that outwardly claims like the truth.
Yeah. You're not gonna be perfect, dude. There's no perfect Muslim. Doesn't exist. You're not gonna be perfect. You might want to be, and you should want to be. You should want to be.
Yeah, I do
But
want to be
ultimately,
perfect. I wonder.
yeah, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about your Islam, about your deen, about the way that you live. The only thing that matters is that what God thinks about how you live. And so you kind of are just, all Islam is just basically managing that relationship. God knows your heart, and you know your heart, right?
Yeah.
So you need to pay attention. Like, okay, am I being sincere right now? Could I not do this sin? Like, yeah, I could. Okay, let's not do it then. Or like, oh my God, I've given in and now I'm screwed. Like, no, it's okay. Just go to God and talk to God about it.
It's just like the element of social media and wanting to be a good example. But I guess it's the same concept. Like you're never going to be a perfect example. I
You're
don't know,
never
I
going to be a
kind of
perfect
wonder,
example.
Like, why do I, what are my true intentions of wanting to be like perfect in Islam? Like, do I want to be looked at as like, I don't know. I'm even self-analyzing. Like, why really? Is it for the, like, why do I want to purge myself of every single sin and why am I like obsessing over it?
I'll tell you my guess. It's a whisper from Satan, 100%. If it's keeping you from becoming a Muslim, 100%, it's a whisper of Satan. Grayson, you're not going to be perfect even if you do it, so why do it? Don't do it because you're not going to be perfect at it. You got to be perfect. If you're going to do it, Grayson, don't do it. It's with Satan, bro. Clear right there. Boop, 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 boop. Don't do it. You're not going to be perfect at it. And everyone's watching. Everyone's watching, bro. Look at you're on the big screen. You got all these subscribers. You're gonna mess it all up. You're gonna be a fraud. You're gonna get exposed. 100% Satan, bro. Satan. That's
Yeah,
Satan's
I guess
fodder.
it's also like if everyone around me is Christian and then everybody knows, oh, he's Muslim now. Oh, look at him. Like, look at him right now. And I'm like, I need to be a good example.
That's true.
I'm just
That's
thinking
true.
like, I'm basically representing, if I become a Muslim, I'm basically representing the religion to social media. You know, as an American, it's like, whoa, you know, you can relate. Whoa, I'm still in America. I'm in Texas. And nobody around me is, I don't know if I know any other, you know, white Muslim reverts around me. It's like all my friends, I'm thinking I would be the example.
Bro, you're a
And
great example, Grayson. I can tell you that honestly. You're a great example already. People will be like, "Oh, wow, you're a Muslim?" And then they'll see like how you look and that you're smiling at them and that you're just a normal guy. Their entire mindset has just shifted. Oh, wait, you're not like a terrorist wearing a freaking scarf and you don't have a sword. You see what I mean?
yeah,
You're
no, that's
already a good
true.
example, man. You ain't got anything to worry about in that realm at all.
Hey, cheers. Yeah, I should probably follow the creek analogy more. Thank you, Daniel.
Just go,
You
man.
bring me
This
peace. You bring me peace, bro. You're a peaceful. You have peaceful energy, even just through the. I'm not even next to you physically, like just through a screen, talking to you. It's nice.
anything good I say is from Allah. This is the thing with Islam, Grayson. Islam is about the truth. Islam is about the truth and acknowledging the truth when it comes to you. What if you know the word kafir? Islam, kafir. You ever heard somebody? Oh, you're a kafir. That guy's a kafir.
I've heard that word. I do not know what it means.
It's a bad thing. You're never gonna hear that in a good context. Somebody calls you a kafir. It's like basically ultimate insult in Islam. It kind of means like disbeliever, but actually the Arabic kafir is like a farmer that's burying seeds with earth. And so why that word for kafir? Because in the context of Islam, in the context of religion, kafir
Kafir.
is you're burying the truth. So this is basically one of the worst things you could be. Like is a kafir. Because it's not that you don't know the truth. It's that you know the truth. But because some reason you've chosen to bury it and say, I'm not going to acknowledge that that's true. I'm going to bury that. I'm going to throw it away. You just got handed the truth. And you look at it, you go, spit on it, basically. You cover it. Get out of here. That's bad. That's Satan. That's what Satan does.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a kafir.
Yeah.
It's like it's like this analogy. I have a Moroccan friend. He gave me this analogy one time. I really liked it. He said, think about this. You got two scenarios. Scenario one, you meet this girl, most beautiful girl you've ever seen. She's amazing personality. She's smart. She's quiet. She's modest. Loves to take care of you. You're head over heels. You're like, this girl is a 10, right? Then she leaves you. Boom, gone. Ouch. Gone forever. You never see her again. Or you never meet that girl. Which one hurts more? You don't even know that girl exists. Which one hurts more?
I mean, the one where you don't know she exists has no pain.
Exactly. That's the difference. So that's the difference between not knowing the truth and being a kafir, being a rejecter of the truth. You had it, bro. You have it right here. You have the truth. The truth, capital T. The most important thing in the world. And you go, bah, get out of here. Kafir. Disbeliever. Rejecter. You don't want to be that. That's bad news. Bad.
I like how you explained with like the seed. Oh, that's literally what it means, you said?
Yeah, the Arabic kafir is like a farmer burying a seed with dirt. But in this context, it's like you're burying the truth, not a seed.
Yeah.
But yeah. I was getting my hair cut today, and the barber was telling me about this. Because I mentioned how like a lot of Americans, kind of like the common thing now with Americans is like, yeah, I don't know about religion, but like just be a good person.
That's very common.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, first off, like define good, which you can't if you don't have a religion. It's totally subjective. You might say it's like, oh, well, good is if, I feel good about it, but then like somebody feels good about doing something that's, maybe murdering somebody. So there is no good or bad if you don't have an objective basis. And then as well, you should know who to give thanks to and who to be grateful to for your ability to be good in the first place. For example, if you help a homeless person with food, okay, how did you get the food to help them? God provided you with that, right? So it's like, yeah, okay, be a good person. That's good, but it's kind of like you're missing the whole point. It's kind of like if you were to say, oh, I'm a really good student, and you're a good student because you listen to the teacher, you always raise your hand before you speak, you sharpen everyone's pencil, you sharpen your teacher's pencil, you're always on time, but when it comes test time, you freaking fail the test. It's like, okay, so what's the point of being all this good stuff when like the reason that you're there, you completely fail? Yeah. That's kind of like just be a good person. Like, that's.
But like, what if like I could play devil's advocate? Like, okay, what if it was like one of my best friends is believes in something
creator.
Yeah, you could say, but not like a.
Maybe
almost like it's all God, like we are God. And
okay, yeah.
And like part of me is like, what if like there is a part of me that's like, is that what God is? And I'm like, no, but I'm like there. Okay, but anyway, he's like, what do you mean you don't know what good is? Like don't. Okay, if you're not harming anyone else, except if it's self-defense, like. I don't know. Like, do you really think that there's no basis to argue for good? Like, we could try it. I could try to argue.
No, there can't be, because like just that example right there. You don't harm yourself, because then you have to define harm. Because like, for example, I could like hang a billboard of a naked woman in front of my house, and I could say I'm not harming anyone, but like, am I? Like little kids have to see that. Well, I'm not. And then the parents come to me and say, "Hey, can you take that?" And I say, "Why would I? I'm not harming anyone. So I'm not doing anything wrong." You see what I mean? I actually have a point there. I'm not technically harming anyone, but from the parents' perspective, like perhaps I'm psychologically harming their children, maybe. But I could be like, oh, well, that's nonsense. They should be exposed, So there's always going to be arguments. You could just
that's a good
go
example.
back and forth forever.
Yeah.
You have to have a set rules. You have
Yeah.
to. Otherwise, it's just
It definitely
arguing.
makes.
I have some things written down, Grayson,
Hey.
that I wanted to mention to you.
Okay.
So like to me, elephant in the room here, elephant in the room of this whole stream. What I see when I go, people come onto my channel and they talk about you, or I often see people talking about you on other people's streams. Oftentimes, what I see is like, yeah, this Grayson Brock guy. We're kind of unsure about his sincerity. We're not sure he's sincere. Have you seen that?
I see a comment every now and then that says that.
How do you feel about that? Why do you feel? How do you feel when you read that comment? Is it you just don't care? It goes over your head, or does it affect you? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you couldn't, but I'm like, I mean, I gotta say I don't share everything as it happens online, because there's as you know, like you actually have I turn off the camera, and I have a life, so
Yeah.
sometimes I don't share exactly what's going on in my journey. I guess specifically with Islam, want to at least delay some things from the public, because now it's like I have actually a big following. Like literally, if I go to a masjid, like people are like, Grayson. I'm like, wow, okay, like I can't like be secret anymore, or
Yeah.
I can't be like a normal person anymore. Not that I want it to be, like I want whatever God wills me to be, but I mean, I guess you mean since like everything I say, I believe. I don't lie. So whatever I've ever said is what I think. At least at the time. So in that sense, I don't know if everything that's coming out of my mouth, if I'm not deceiving, if I'm saying what I think, I don't know how that could be insincere. But yeah, the past 6 months has changed. My life has changed a lot, specifically with my research, as well as like now reading hundreds of words on a screen per day, like about me, like morally, like great, and then you see something bad, you're like, why do I like want to like think about that? Like, I'm sure you can relate too.
Yeah, I'll tell you, especially when I first started making YouTube videos, I read all the comments at first, and then I just stopped. I basically just stopped reading the comments. Nowadays, I read them here and there, because like I'm at a point where I'm like firm enough where I'm like, okay, like this doesn't really affect me. But early on, I noticed it like kind of sometimes it would like either anger me or like frustrate me or just like upset me. So I was just like, okay, I still post the videos. Like I thought like, okay, I'm just going to screw all this. I'm just going to delete everything, all my videos. I'm not going to post anymore. And I was like, oh, that's silly. Like I shouldn't do that. I still want to make videos, but I quit reading the comments so much just because it's weird. Like how our mind works. Like you'll read like 10 like really nice comments, and then you'll see one that just kind of ticks you off, and you're like, think about it the rest of the day. You're like, what's wrong with that person? Like, how you be so stupid? Like, how can they see me like that? I'm glad, you know what I mean? So it's like better just if you feel like it's affecting you, you don't gotta read it. You still post videos, and it's like, don't read the comments. You could see like maybe like go back to the video after a few days, and then everyone's like, you read like the top rated comments, and those are good comments usually.
I'm self-analyzing like as we speak, but what's interesting is like if someone said, Grayson, you're fat, I would just be like, what? Keep scrolling. But
yeah,
I don't know if
because you're not. Yeah.
But when you read something, it's like if you can see any truth in it, is that why you and I would ponder a comment that's negative? Like if it's completely untrue, I don't think I would even literally like, you're fat. I'd be like, what? Like, I think I would just laugh. Yeah. It's like sometimes I'm like analyzing every comment. Like, is that what I think?
Grayson, are you still struggling with be honest? I don't know. I don't know why it would imply that you wouldn't be honest, but I just want to have a open conversation about this. Bobby did already, and I thought he did amazing. And I feel like he explained it better than I've maybe ever seen it explained. But you were struggling with the Muhammad thing. And I also went through this. That's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. Because I had the same thing. I'm like
accepting him as a prophet, or what do you mean?
Well, kind of just like it's like, okay, why is la ilaha illallah not enough? Like, why we
Yeah.
got to go another step?
Yeah.
And so I kind of got like, and it's always just like a little bit intense too, because you're like, yeah, Muhammad, and then everyone's like, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and like, it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, man. Like, at first it's a little, it's like, what is this? Like,
Yeah, it still sounds. It's still, yeah. I mean, like I was at a masjid yesterday, and like when we were in like a small group talking, and I heard someone say, anytime the speaker would say Muhammad, like the people next to me would be like, "Oh, sorry, or I don't even.
yeah,
I don't even know how to say it, but like, oh,
it's
like
pretty hard.
pay their
Sallallahu. Try.
sallallahu
Yeah, you got it. Sallallahu, and then the next part is alayhi.
alayhi
Yeah, so you got sallallahu alayhi
sallallahu alayhi
wasallam.
wasallam
So
sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
that's it. MashaAllah, you got it.
Ah,
Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then they say
yeah.
it like really fast. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You know, I can't even do it.
Yeah, I go sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
sallallahu, and I'm like, okay. I used to, I grew up. Jesus is God to us. How I grew up, and we didn't even say that. But we
Yeah.
spoke about Jesus. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you're saying that about Muhammad. You won't even say it. So it's still. I mean, I get it. Like I've had it explained, but I don't know, like I never felt like this when I read the Quran. Like when I read the Quran, I was like, this all makes sense. Like he is nothing but a messenger. What is the message? Like, but it does say, like, that's what I would look back and be like, this book is clearly saying God is the only way. It's just like when I went to a masjid and like that was the first time I went to a masjid was the first time I ever heard of hadith. Because I was like, what are all these books on the wall? He's like, oh, these are sayings of Prophet Muhammad. And I was like, oh no. I was like, Buddhism did this.
Yeah.
Like, I got nervous because like Buddhism did this. Like Buddhism isn't supposed to be about worshiping the guy who taught it, but instead it's only about like opening your
What he
mind,
taught.
I guess, enlightenment. And when you really look into Christianity, it's not. You read the Bible, it's not supposed to be, at least I guess my interpretation, but me trying to objectively read it, like it's not supposed to be about Jesus. It's not supposed to be like holding a sign that says Jesus. Like Jesus was like,
God. Yeah.
and then everyone's like, Jesus. Like, no, Jesus was doing that.
Yeah.
So, and then like, okay, Islam. Oh, one God. I read the Quran. I'm like, okay, didn't know anything about Islam. One God. And I've had this conversation so many times. I don't know how, if I'll ever get past it. It makes sense in the Quran. And then when I see it in a mosque and I talk to Muslims, I'm like, why do you fear? It's like, it's almost if you say something disrespectful against Muhammad, it's as almost if you just said something like equivalent to saying something against God. And
It's okay. It's kind of complicated. It's like out of all the people in the whole world, God had to pick one person to be the messenger. I see you've had this conversation too many times.
Even when you say the messenger, but like, what do you mean? Islam teaches that there was messengers before. So why is he the messenger?
Because okay, every messenger came for a specific people, and you've heard this before, right?
Yes.
So like, if you were born during the time of Moses, so basically it would be between Moses, after Moses, and before Jesus, right? Did Abraham? I don't even know. Abraham came before Moses.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, let's say hypothetically Jesus came after Moses. I think it's true. I think Jesus came after
Moses. Yes.
Okay, so let's say you're born before Jesus, but after Moses. So Moses was the way to the truth, right? He's the example. He's the person that God gave the rules to. Right? So you know which rules to follow because Moses is telling you because he's the messenger. Right? Now, Jesus comes. So after Jesus, but before Muhammad, you need to follow Jesus. He's the messenger. He's giving you the rules. Right? So you have to follow those rules. Now, there comes a time because eventually, there's going to be an end of the world. The world's going to end eventually. So there logically has to be a last messenger before the world ends. That all the people from the time of that prophet until the end of the world, that prophet, that messenger is the only way to God, right?
It's been the
his
same
his
message
teaching.
though.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So like why it's like almost to me, and this is also, due to like programming of growing up and thinking Islam is evil, and even just hearing the word Muhammad is like I still, even still, it's like Muhammad. I mean, I'm learning more and learning about Muhammad, and I'm like, oh, the world is below your mother's feet. That's what Muhammad taught me.
Yeah.
So like, that's slowly breaking down, but 15 years, 10 years of like just every now and then seeing things on the news like brainwashing, it's not going to be broken in 6 months. Where was I going with this?
You struggle with the name Muhammad.
It's just like, yeah, I associate that not so much anymore, but I mean, around like where I feel like if I say the word Muhammad, like do people hear him? It's kind of like, raises your ears. Same thing as like Muslim, like Muhammad, like
Yeah.
what you talking about? Like, oh, I'm listening now. What is he about to say? And after Muhammad dies, so he's a messenger, he dies. Like, he's as a human is dead. The message is still alive. And so when I hear people say like you'll learn to love Muhammad when you learn more about him,
Yeah.
I'm just like, that sounds so creepy. Like he is not here anymore.
Yeah.
I've never seen him. I see the words. I see words on a piece of paper. Like it just sounds very similar. Not to the same degree, but it sounds very similar. And again, I've had this conversation many times. I think honestly, studying the Quran brings me the most peace, and it's ultimately the answer. But it sounds very similar to when I was a Christian, and it's like, you'll learn to love Jesus. Like, and I hear like, you'll learn to love Muhammad. I'm like, oh no, please don't say this is repeating.
Well, there's nothing
Like,
wrong with loving Jesus or loving Muhammad. I mean, it's just like if you have a dead relative, right? You still love them. They're dead, but you still like when you think about what they did and how they made you feel.
but
Yeah,
you
you
met
feel
them.
okay. Yeah. It could be you wouldn't have to meet them. Say you people all the time with like movie characters. They're like, oh, I love that movie character. I love them so much. They're amazing. Yeah, they're not even real. They're like that person's like literally a made up stories. And like we can, just because you never met somebody or just because they're not alive doesn't mean that you can't like kind of relate to somebody or feel appreciation for what they did. I guess.
Yeah.
I know it feels. I went through the same thing, man. I started getting into this, and I'm like, this kind of feel weird. Like, why is everyone so obsessed with Muhammad? I totally get it. I went through the same thing. It's kind of makes you feel weird, but and like especially with the Shahada, and I just want to talk about it a little bit more, and then I don't want to talk about it anymore because you're overburdened with this topic already. And my advice ultimately is just pray to God about it. It's always the best advice. Just be honest with God and be like, yeah, I'm like, actually, this is throwing me off. It's really weird. Please guide me to the truth on this specific topic, please. That's my best advice. But I do want to say one thing. He has to be in the Shahada. Because why? Because if you just have La ilaha illallah, okay, there's only one God and we can all run around, yay, there's only one God, woohoo. But then all of a sudden this other guy is like, yeah, there's only one God, and I agree with you. And God actually wants me to wear a skirt and kill myself, or like this is the most crazy thing ever. You see the problem?
Yeah.
They believe there's only one God. That's easy, bro. That's like a very logical when you think about it. Once you realize that, you're like, oh, duh. Like, of course, there's only one God.
Yeah, like it must go back to one.
Exactly. So the reason that we have to have Muhammad in the Shahada is because by affirming Muhammad was the messenger and the prophet of God, you're affirming all the laws that God actually gave to us. If you don't affirm Muhammad, you're just basically saying, yeah, I believe in one God, and then what? You could basically just do whatever you want again. You see what I mean?
There needs to be some structure to it.
It happened like this for a reason. God had to send a messenger so that the message could be spread. Otherwise, it's like impossible for the revelation to come to all of us.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing. It's like a big test. Like And part of that test is like overcoming maybe your own kind of difficulties with like, why should I trust this guy? Or like, what's so special about this guy? It's like, he's really not. It's just the guy that God gave the message to, which in a sense does make him special because it's like, everyone's like, I wish I could have been that person. I mean, that's really cool actually. But it
But
wasn't
like
us. It
the
was
same
Muhammad.
message that was to the previous people, like it's not new.
Yeah.
Or like that's what I understand. Like when I learned about Islam, I was like, oh, like like the Message movie as well.
What'd you say? Did I
Have you
like
heard
it?
the Message, the movie?
Yeah, it's great. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Like my favorite part, I started like tearing up when I read it, and he was like, they're talking, they're like, it's been the same message as before, but they changed
Yeah.
it, twisted it, and forgot it. And I was like, almost like started to tremble. I was like, this is exactly, like, I get it. It was like the moment of like, I get it. Like everything about Christianity, it brought me, when I researched into it, it brought me so much peace. And there was just like this layer on top, like the cherry on top of like confusion with like, why are we praising Jesus though? Like, why are we doing this though? Why is blank, blank, blank? And then Islam's like, boom. But when I heard that, it's like, even in that movie, like the message has been here, but they changed it, twisted it, and forgot it. So it always has been Islam. It always has been one God and one God only.
Yeah.
But why do people like when I hear people speak about like Islamic history started in, like they're basically saying like at the beginning was when Muhammad came. I'm like,
Yeah.
but this has been the same
Really.
message.
Yeah. Well, there's a few things there. Like, we don't have the original message intact of any of the prophets before him. So it's like, what if I said like, yeah, I believe in what some ancient prophet said, Aaron or something. I'm a follower of Aaron, and Aaron said this and this and this. And it's like, I don't have any evidence for that. Muhammad is the only one that we have evidence for, and God made it that way. Said this message will be preserved. It's a promise made in the Quran. So by affirming Muhammad, you will always be affirming the same message because it will always be intact, where that's not the case with all the other prophets. So yes, while we do believe that it is always the same message from all the prophets, we don't have, like, Islam is always about evidence and about truth, right? So if we don't have the evidence, we can't really, you can't logically say you're a follower of that prophet, I guess, because you don't have the evidence in front of you.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, it does like, if you accept Muhammad, okay, what does the Quran say that the message that Muhammad relayed was that like about the other prophets? So you are like by proxy accepting the other prophets.
Pull up Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 136. So 2:136.
Surah Al-Baqarah 2:136.
Yeah, I'll just read the Yusuf Ali. I won't do that one. That was a bit fancy. Let's go Sahih International. Okay. It says, say, O believers, we have believed in Allah and what has been revealed to us and what has been revealed to Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the descendants. Okay. And what was given to Moses and Jesus and what was given to the prophets from their Lord. We make no distinctions between any of them, and we are Muslims in submission to him. So it's telling you kind of like, don't, as a believer, as a good Muslim, don't start like saying like, why is this prophet different than this prophet? Or like, see what I mean? It says right there, we make no distinction between any of them, and we are Muslims in submission.
Yeah. It's clear.
It's clear. It's right there. So like, again, like, don't get too caught up in like, well, why not like Abraham, or why is like always the same message? It's like, don't make no distinction between them. We believe in what God has given to all of them, and we're believers. We believe in that. Just submit. That's it. Simple. Done. Quran's good, huh?
Yeah. This
It's got it
verse
all.
is amazing. What does the word Shahada mean?
I think testimony.
And not something
What?
that like you, I mean, I guess after you take the Shahada, your life is a continued testimony by your actions. But is it something like, is it traditionally like you just say it once and then you never like say it? Oh, well, I guess it's in the Adhan, isn't it?
It's in the Adhan. It's in the prayer. Yeah, you you say it frequently. But like, yeah, when you say it with the intention of like, I believe this, then that like makes you a Muslim from that point. It's very easy to become a Muslim. It's also very easy to become a non-Muslim, because as soon as you like commit shirk, you know, you're like, there's a lot of things that can take you out of Islam. So Islam is kind of funny in that sense, where it's like very easy to come into, but like there's also things that you can say like, oh, I don't believe in the Quran. Okay, well now you're not a Muslim, you know.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do it? Yes.
It's just I need to
work. You were thinking about it right there. I could sense it.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Away from the public's eye right now.
Sure. Yeah,
regarding this, you know, it gets complicated with like real life outside of turn the camera off, and I'm like, oh, need to. I don't know. I do know, actually.
It's I think you know too. Yeah, it's between you and God, man. All these people watching, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is between you and God. So if you're good there, then I'm happy for you, man.